Let's talk some high school football. Time for week 1 on the schedule after we had week 0 last week. I'm Fox 23 sports director Nathan Thompson, along with the Tulsa World sports editor Barry Lewis. We're going to top the top 5 games from your Tuesday edition, your column in the Tulsa World. So make sure you can pick up a Tuesday paper to see that, or you can go to okprepsextra.com and read it online. So game number 1, what a matchup here, Owasso at Jenks. This is always a big game, but this year after those week 0 results, even better than we expected going into the year.
Yes, there's more excitement about this game, at least from when they meet in the regular season, than there has been in quite a long time, because not only did both teams win last week against big-time opponents, but it's how they won. They won so impressively. Owasso, of course, I think may have stunned the state with a 40-21 win over the two-time 6A1 defending state champion Bixby Spartans. And then you had Jenks just destroying Edmond Santa Fe 48-3. And that series had been filled with thrillers, but not last week. So both teams looked like they were in state championship form last week, and it should be a great game this Friday night at Allen Trimble Stadium.
Of course, it's also the Fox 23 game of the week, so we'll have live reports on Fox 23 News at 6 and then highlights at Fox 23 News at 10 Friday night. Your number 2 game, we go to Class 3A, Lincoln Christian at Heritage Hall. This one a state title game rematch from last year that Lincoln Christian won.
It was quite a state championship game to remember of last year, because Heritage Hall got off to a 28-7 lead, but then Lincoln Christian roared back, and in the midst of their comeback, Heritage Hall's Player of the Year quarterback Andy Bass got hurt, and he was knocked out for the rest of the game. So that left Heritage Hall wondering what might have been. So we'll never know. As I said, Lincoln Christian was roaring back when that injury occurred. So, Heritage Hall is going to be fired up wanting some revenge. Lincoln Christian does have a little bit of an advantage coming into this game, because they got a quality win last week, so they've got a game under their belts. Heritage Hall, this will be their opener. They will have a new quarterback, and it will be very interesting. It always is when these teams play, but it's usually been in the playoffs. They meet often in the playoffs, almost every year, virtually deep in the playoffs. But this is a rarity, meeting in the regular season.
All right, game number 3, we go back up to Class 6A1, Union at Stillwater. This is familiar grounds for Union head coach Kirk Frederick.
Yes, he was Stillwater's head coach in 2002 through 2005. That was his first high school head coaching job. In fact, Stillwater's head coach, Chad Kaywood, was on his staff back then, all those years ago at Stillwater. And this is a matchup that occurred because of all the late district reshuffling, but it's very attractive as each team is ranked second in its respective classification. A very interesting quarterback matchup. You've got Shaker Reisick, arguably the best quarterback in the state for Union. And then you've got Mason Schubert, strong-arm quarterback, making the move for Morrison, expected to make his debut for Stillwater. So how's he gonna make that transition from Class A football to playing 6A1 competition?
Should be interesting. And game number 4 in your column in the Tuesday edition of the Tulsa World, Rejoice Christian at Cascia Hall, and a battle of private school teams that have a strong history of good football.
Yes, they do, and the road team always wins in this series, so that bodes well for Rejoice. Another great quarterback matchup as Cale Marley is back, better than ever, it looks like, for Rejoice. Looking at his performance last week, he got hurt in the Cascia game last year, and Cascia has Barrett Mullen, who led a great comeback last week for the second straight year over Holland Hall, almost an instant replay of what happened last year in that rivalry game.
And rounding out the top 5, we go back up to Class 6A1. Broken Arrow with a nice win last week in week 0, but they're taking on the defending state champion out of Arkansas, Fayetteville, coming up here this Friday night at home again for BA.
Yes, Broken Arrow took a good step forward last week after a rough year last season. It was important for them to get off to a good start. Mission accomplished. They're off to a good start, beating Harbor, but now they take a big jump up in competition going against Fayetteville. And a fun fact is that Fayetteville, when they won the state championship in 2016, was coached by Bill Blankenship, father of current Broken Arrow head coach Josh Blankenship.
So that is very interesting indeed. Again, you can pick up and read for yourself in the Tuesday edition of the Tulsa World, this column by Barry Lewis or OKPrepsExtra.com online. There's also some bonus games, some honorable mention games. If you check those out, you can see those. And as always, pick up a paper just every day this week at the Tulsa World, because they'll have great coverage, especially Friday, previewing all the action, and Saturday with the game recaps and stories, and of course the great pictures from the Tulsa World photography staff. And for Fox 23, as I said, we will be live from the game of the week, Jenks taking on Owasso. We will have highlights of that game live on Fox 23 News at 10 over from Allen Trimble Stadium. So make sure you check that out on Friday night. And you can always go to our website, fox23.com, and click on the high school football tab for all of our high school football coverage.